Getting the smoker going is the first test of a beekeeper. Keeping it going is the second. So the unique traits of a honeybee are that they act as a superorganism. They live in a colony and they're social insects. They'll gather nectar in order to make it through the winter and keep their colony alive.
They're the hardest working women in nature because the majority of worker bees are actually female, and even though they only live 6 to 8 weeks in the summertime because they're working so hard, just think of what wouldn't exist without them.
My name is Krista Conner. By day, I'm a program manager at Microsoft, and on my weekends and evenings, I'm a hobby beekeeper. So I got started beekeeping in 2006 as a result of needing something to distract myself. I was actually getting ready to undergo some treatment for breast cancer, and so bees and beekeeping have been a topic that have kept me learning and distracted from many other stressors. So bees like to go towards your mouth and nose, so it's good to wear a veil and to have it zipped. And I prefer to wear gloves. Some beekeepers don't wear gloves. It makes me a little bit more comfortable, but I'm working up my nerve to get to the point of going gloveless. I live in a condo and I don't have a yard of my own. So my very first hives were having my hives placed in my friends' backyards. These are my hive tools. Every beekeeper has these in order to manipulate the hive. The bees can use propolis to gum the box and seal the box up, and so you have to crack open the hive with these hive tools and you can manipulate the frames. What I enjoy most about beekeeping is really just the learning process. You ready to go in the hive? Do you want to smoke them for me?
We started looking into how we could be beekeepers and went to some Puget Sound Beekeeper Association meetings and met some really great people. And then we met Krista and we learned about what she does and how she puts hives in people's yards. And so we thought that that would be a great fit for our family, that we could learn about bees and see the experience, but have someone who has the knowledge and the skills actually kind of walking us through it.
All right, Lewis, can you tell me what you see?
I like the honey. And I like that bees are so amazing. There's just so much to learn about them.
Of the top 100 foods, 70 of those foods are actually the result of pollination by honeybees. Things like broccoli, carrots, parsley, fennel, the list goes on and on.
What would our diets be without honeybees doing that pollination work? So it's really important that people realize that connection to their food supply.
20% of the bees are disappearing every year, and the term for that is colony collapse disorder.
Around 2006, beekeepers were claiming 30 to 90% of their individual colonies had collapsed in a single season.
And they're just gone. Scientists right now are trying to figure out why this is happening. The reality is there's probably not one simple answer.
They're thinking it's a combination of stressors on the bees, from pesticides, having monoculture, agriculture systems where we're trucking bees across the country to pollinate those single crops. The commercial beekeepers have been the most impacted, from a financial standpoint, because they can start out with 3,000 hives and half of them are gone by the end of the season. And I've heard of some hobby beekeepers, even in town here, experiencing it. People can help honeybees thrive by putting bee-friendly plants in their yards. You can have a water source nearby in your yard.
Just take a small container like this, fill it with stones because bees need a place to light, and then keep it filled with water, and you've got your own little bee bath.
Because bees use water to dilute nectar and feed their young, and to cool the hive. And people can really pay attention to what they're using from yard maintenance, so pesticides, insecticides, being aware of what's in bloom and not using those at times that honeybees might be feeding on them.
And then the third and the tastiest thing that you can do is to buy local honey from local beekeepers.
What I love about it is that I'm constantly learning something new. So for me, it just keeps my mind going at all times, and I feel connected to nature, and I'm able to connect with people as well in the act of educating them about bees and beekeeping. All right, Lewis, I have to close up the hive. That's a lot of fun.